indescribable state of just being. What I am curious to find out for you to share with us is that from that moment of being, that impulse to manifest, how and how, what is that impulse to manifest? Could you speak about that? Is there a visualization that occurs? Oh, whatever, I don't want you just... Could you speak about the impulse to manifest from that state of being?
Well, after destroying the art and giving everything I owned away, I mean, I thought I would never go back to it. I wasn't attached. I knew what was given was enough. It was everything. And yet, you know, it's like, again, sacrifice. You put what you love on the altar. I mean, I've had a huge amount of everything invested in my creation, in the creative process, in the development of my talent. And so all of that, I feel like the gods are very efficient beings. Everything we put our heart and soul in is, if we can put it on the altar with a willingness to let it go forever, it's sanctified and given back to us. And eventually I began doing art again because it didn't matter. And I know that sounds very unromantic, but when something matters so much, you can be damn sure you're attached to it. You know, if it's excessive... And it's not like you don't care about a thing. It's more you hold it enough in reverence that you will allow it to find its own sacred in the expression in the world. And I needed to get to that really simple place where it didn't matter whether I did art or not. And now what I see is that it's a component in the totality of my day, of my life. You know, there are times when I'm creating, and I think there are these rhythms that include everything now, where I feel, I know this is a moment where I have a space of time, I'm really on a roll, and I feel sometimes I'll work all night to complete a thing because I know this moment is going to go. And so I do that, and the next day the phone calls come, I have to travel again, things up, and I feel like it's such a natural component to life. And again, it feels so much more sanctified. It's not a desperate business, you know, where I was finding my soul and I couldn't find myself and this was my means, or just a desperate identity. I mean, I don't know who I am as an identity now. I know that everything counts, and that has become the larger identity. I don't identify with being just an artist or just anything else. And so, you know, the moment, how do things manifest? You know, they manifest joyfully. I get ridiculous, whimsical ideas, or something is given to me, or, you know, I finished a piece not long ago that has a steam engine. You light a fire in the belly of this 8-foot-high piece, and it does all these ridiculous things from steam power. And, you know, and that all began because this person showed up at my house one day, an older man who grew up in England, and he had a little toy, which was a steamroller that actually had steam. You know, you lit a little piece of cotton with alcohol, and a steam engine made the toy ride across the floor. Could you imagine giving your kids a great little toy like that? And I fixed this toy, and out of that, the steam engine came. We were doing a workshop in our place. We have a large 2,000 square foot place where we do our groups and things. And so this whole piece came out of our work with alchemy. I called it the alchemist. It turns fire and water to steam to power to ridiculousness. And so, you know, I think it all just, things make a kind of sense, and people give me things, and they fall perfectly into place. And, you know, there's just a totality to creation now. There's no form or way it happens. It's a part of the conversation with the mystery in all things, in conversation with human beings, in what comes, in what sort of sparkles in life. You know, you go through and something, you know, calls to you, and it somehow fits into place. And that is so much more the way creation is now, where I think before it was a bit more desperate and willful and determined. It's not now, and I could let it go. And because of that, I'm creating more than ever. Oh, so
good morning. I'm over on this side. When I listened to you, what came across is a part of the Old Testament with Abraham and Isaac as a metaphor for what we're supposed to do with our lives. And as I feel what you're saying, you said you got a new set of eyes at the time that you surrendered. And those eyes see better and clearer, and you can see the colors differently and people differently in the world. And you're transforming that into something for us to accept. My question is, the joy that encompasses that is what you're trying to tell us about. Is that true?
Well, joy is certainly the end game. I mean, it's the, when people look at my journey, it says, oh God, how morose, and even your art is morose. I have never known greater happiness than living in direct relationship to the mystery. I have, once that relationship is established, that is joy.